Hello everyone, in this video I'll show you my Lightning Barbarian spec. This is a very fun build to play with great survival and AoE capabilities. I believe the spec works very well and scales nicely with your gear as you get into higher difficulties.
First we'll talk about what skills to get, both active and passive. Next we'll talk about how to gear up your character, selecting gear and enchants that will complement your spec, and what gems to stick in those sockets. And finally we'll talk about how to distribute your Paragon points. This spec has two primary abilities I bind onto my mouse buttons. For single target it's Frenzy with Smite rune, and for multiple targets Whirlwind with Wind Shear rune. For Frenzy I chose Smite rune to take advantage of lightning damage bonus from gear, as we'll discuss in gearing up section. Frenzy has very fast attacks that generate a lot of fury for your secondary abilities. With Smite rune you get a 30% chance to stun your target, so it's great for stun locking those pesky champions and buying you some time for regenerating health. With the stun proc you can also stop the enemies that like to run away from you or interrupt spellcasters. But you gotta be careful, chapter and bosses like Diablo and Maltael seem to resist stuns more often than not. Frenzy also has a higher health per hit coefficient than Whirlwind, so it will help you replenish your health faster. For multiple targets you'll be using Whirlwind with Wind Shear rune, which lets you generate rage while whirlwinding instead of spending it. Whirlwind covers a large area, deals tons of damage very fast, helps you get out when you are stuck between mobs since you can move through enemies while whirling. There's one more skill that could work very well with this build, Cleave with Broad Sweep rune. This rune makes Cleave lightning damage as well. It's a bit higher damage than Frenzy, but it's slower. Since we already have Whirlwind for AoE damage, I decided not to use it. I chose to go with two shots for the spec. Battle Rage with Marauder's Rage for boosting your own damage, and Threatening Shot with Falter rune for reducing enemy damage. These runes boost their respective skills' effectiveness. Marauder's Rage gives you additional 5% damage boost, while Falter also slows enemy attack speed by 20%. Leap is useful for getting away from bad stuff such as walls, laser beams, explosions, or even jumping into Health Globe when your health is low. I prefer Launch rune for it, as it also slows down enemies you are trying to get away from by 60%. Hammer of the Ancients is the rage spender of this build. I chose Thunderstrike rune for it to convert the damage to lightning. Stun from Thunderstrike will also help killing packs of enemies by stunning nearby enemies each time one of them dies. Unforgiving is great for rage generation. You can never have enough rage, and this will also stop it from degenerating. Brawler will increase your damage by 20% when you have 3 enemies or more within 12 yards, which is 85% of the time. That's how often this passive skill will be beneficial. Relentless will decrease the damage you take below 35% health by 50%. It's hard to decide between Superstition or Relentless, but I like the peace of mind Relentless gives. It will also reduce ability costs, so if you are low on Fury and health, it will cost much less to leap out of the way of danger. Weapons Master is dependent on your main hand weapon. For swords and daggers you get 8% damage boost, while you get 5% crit for axes and maces. For other weapons, this rune isn't as beneficial. Berserker Rage is another good passive skill, but I don't like losing burst damage provided by Hammer of the Ancients, so I prefer not to use it. However, you may want to experiment with it. Since what gear you will get is based on luck, we will talk about priorities instead. Strength, crit chance and critical damage increase are the first priority. Every gear will have strength, but typically only bracers, gloves, rings and necklaces will have crit. Second, we'll aim for lightning damage bonus on any piece you can get it. Not every slot will offer this stat, but check at the enchanter for options. Next, we'll look for damage percentage bonus to individual abilities such as Whirlwind, Frenzy and Hammer of the Ancients. For the rest of your stats, I recommend to keep your health above 350,000, then focus more on health per hit. Health per second doesn't seem to be as useful since you can hit faster than once per second to generate more health than what health per second will give you. If you have to choose between extra armor or resist, go with resist since it gives you more toughness. For gemming, I don't recommend gear with gem sockets except for 3 specific slots. It's a must for weapons to use your best emerald gem zone. For legs, as long as it has 2 sockets, and for chest, as long as it has 3 sockets, go with the highest ruby gems you have to boost your strength. On core, go for movement speed as it's cheaper to get it with paragon points compared to armor. On offense, critical hit chance or critical hit damage increase depending on how much crit chance you already have. Experiment and find out which will give you higher damage output on your character sheet. On defense, choose life regeneration. You will typically avoid the stat on gear, but you will still need some of it to help with overall healing, and this is a good place to get it for cheap. On utility, get life per hit. You can never have enough of this stat, and since all of your attacks are very fast with this build, you get a lot of benefit from it.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and watch our other videos.